Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Welcome to infinite light of being. That's what we're coming to celebrate. How to sing the song of God, really. It's kind of odd that we have to learn again how to be what we are. But since there was a desire to be what we're not, I guess that's where we are. Is looking again with the voice within us that reminds us who we really are. And so many of us just love the song of prayer. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful section of the course. And so I'm going to continue. I think this is day 4, and it's so worth this careful exploration. I'm just seeing that what a powerful use of time for all of us to contemplate each line with Jesus so we get it, you know, like he said, get the lesson, pick any of them and get them 100%. So I feel willing. I feel we're all willing to put our seatbelts on together and just stand into the denial. That's really what it takes. That's experience here, boy, just looking directly. Because if we turn away or we whinge or we go sideways, it's just the delay of hell. You know, as he said, we got too tolerant of pain, but not totally tolerant of pain. So now we can look. And as I'm getting started here, he's reminding me that someone had asked a question, and I do try and remember asking questions because I see it's from me. So you can be the Holy Spirit if you ask a question in the messenger group or send one, then I will try and answer it. And it just feels really holy. It's just function. It's not me answering it. I just let him answer it because I'm seeing I can't really answer anything. We can only be everything, you know, only. And then accept his promise. I will tell you everywhere to go and everything to say. And I'm really glad because I don't know what I would be doing after a year doing these almost every day, twice a day, over a year. And, you know, what am I going to say? I don't think, you know, but obviously Jesus has something to say and I need to hear what it is. So thank you for coming for us to celebrate and hear it. So Hilda had sent a question about eating meat. And I believe I remember that's the question. And so I just thought, okay. And every time I'd even have one thought of that, Jesus would say, what is it for? What is anything in consciousness being used for? And guidance. I mean, we have the one who knows to tell us what in consciousness, in the display of consciousness, is useful for pointing straight up to God and what's going to send us down the rat hole of hell. And I trust him implicitly. And I see how relaxing it is, you know, because as I've said, we're trying to convert this to a not-for-profit. And it's like, one of the roles in the play was negotiating contracts, you know, intellectual property contracts and looking for licensees and hunting down violators of patent violators, hunting them down and trying to get them licensed, you know. And it's the biggest relief in the world, you know. I was like so diligent and having to be diligent to read every line of a contract and make sure I had it right and all this stuff. And now it's like, okay, Jesus, what do I do here? You know, it's so much more relaxing. As I said, when I bought this property, it's like, and it's all in Spanish and they're trying to explain it to you and you have it in English and everybody's just talking Spanish. And it was just a relief. I just sit there smiling while they're doing it. And then my attention would get drawn. Just like he said, he'll bring your attention right to you need to see. That's just so much more relaxing. Because he has such a great sense of humor. This is such a great sense of humor here. Because the last thing I thought I would be doing, hilariously enough, is like running an organization, quote unquote. But what the relief is, because it was like when I walked away from all of that seemingly in the world, it was like, oh, I never really want to do that. That's why it's so hilarious, but it's different, it's in service to the whole, it's in divine purpose. And there's so much love that comes in that. And like to see we're not really doing it. We only think we can, I only thought I could read a contract and take care of all the contingencies and, even meeting with the board of directors, like I was meeting with the board meeting, I'm just realizing, it's just a holy encounter and to accept what the brother's bringing. So coming back to meat, it's what's it for? It's all the same, he's saying. This is the lesson in all the same. What is the belief behind it? Is it a belief that it's quote unquote better for me? If I don't eat beef, is it there's some kind of salvation in eating meat or not eating meat? See that in infinite light of being, meat is irrelevant to the infinite light. That is the happiest thing of all, because consciousness is a play of binding itself to some kind of object like meat that does something. So just ask Jesus, very interesting. Let's take the case of meat. Do I believe I'm willing to look at that. Let's just see it. Okay. Because I went through like a meatless stage. I told some of the stages. I went to the wheatgrass enema stage and and the eat only raw vegetables stage, because I thought I was dying at that time, and for the desire for experience of dying, and eat only pure whole food stage. I'm well familiar with when I start talking about knowing Whole Foods counters, I probably had that store memorized, trying to find pills in there that were going to save my life. And then it was the meat. Oh man, Jesus brings it all back to you, how for a while I would only eat grass-fed beef. And it wasn't until actually Jesus is telling me, you never know what's in holy purpose, because actually he's telling me right now, meeting that Amish farmer, we drive out to get whole milk right from the cow, and it was even extra precious because of course, no, you can't really get it because if you're not in a special situation, of course, it's illegal. So which made it even more attractive. But it was holy purpose. He's telling me now. So it's a great example. Like, we don't know what it's for. What is it for? And then we buy this great grass-fed beef, and it's all pristine, and how the cows are treated. Jesus, the question is, am I bound by anything around a cow? That's what we want to know. Do I have any beliefs below my level of awareness in which if I eat meat, something good's going to happen? If I eat meat, something bad's going to happen. And then we go in there and we forgive it till we're free of the idea of cause and effect. And and then the ego will make this up. It'll make beef better, and then we'll feel like we're going to hell if we don't have it, or we're going to hell if we do have it. Where's the peace of mind? I'm going to check in just to see. Is there anything to look around beef here? Just see, our only function is to see how any of these things deny divine love. And you can just start to notice that pinch, the contraction, like, do I believe heaven is in having beef? Do I believe and that's a deep one to look at because that'll be hidden below the level of awareness. We'll feel righteous, see the righteousness about the right way to treat beef and the right way. None of it's good or bad. It's not to judge what anybody else is doing, have all the beef you want or don't. I just look at it with them. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, Jesus, have I just bound myself to an object? Do I have guilt if I eat meat? You see, and I know that with him, it's a get out of jail free card if he gives me guidance to eat meat or eat whatever he has me eat, regardless of what the form looks like, Jesus, is it in purpose for the body to be this size? He says yes. If he said no, then it would change, Do I have to be concerned about that? No. What do I eat? You can eat that. Can I eat this? And I just follow him. But just see how any kind of food product, he's saying, rest in peace. Because I could see there was no rest in peace around food ever. Rest in peace. He says food has no bearing on the Son of God. Some people want to have an argument. Okay, Jesus, what was Jesus eating? Oh, you know what he just said? He said eating wasn't relevant to me. That sounds like Jesus, doesn't it? He said it had no relevancy. It was there, it was eaten, What was relevant was the bread of life. That's the only thing that was relevant to Jesus, which is the light that sustained us, the Father's daily bread. Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Think not about what you're wearing. Think not about the food you eat. You see, when we're in communion through holy prayer, like when we're praying with him, food is not going to be in the mind. Like you can see all the seeking in it, man. It's like a heat-seeking missile. Then if you don't get it. And David would talk about the practice of eating what's served. It was like I could feel the hackles go up my back when I first heard that. And so at the center, I see the appreciation for it. We just look at food preferences. Like, don't get so involved in that. It's like a death trap. And as I've said, coming through New Orleans, the food city and the family food city and family reunions and what food do we eat? Boy, that's just exhausting when you start seeing how exhausting and how absorbed we by food. So Jesus, like if there's anything there I need to forgive around food, will you show it to me? So he doesn't deprive us food. He doesn't say food, you can't have it or stop eating. Although I have to say, Frances asked David if she could stop eating altogether. He told her yes, and I can hear Jesus say, "What? That's an idea anyway." That's a deep one. There's some sage, I think I talked about it before. He's a sage, and they heard he hadn't eaten a couple of years. But they weren't really so hep. They didn't obviously have enough research money to test him longer than 2 or 3 weeks to see if he ate in 2 or 3 weeks, which he didn't. 2 or 3. So they put him in a little room and tested whether he ate, and he didn't have any food for a couple of weeks. It's an idea. You can ask Jesus now, Jesus, is that an idea that I have to eat? The only answer I get is yes. So it's just about, he's not trying to deprive us anything. He's just trying to say, find out the one who made the food have the experience of tasting something in the mouth. And then see if there's any guilt in there about it. And then let him free us from the idea that food has any bearing whatsoever on the light of divine being. That just feels the most helpful to me. He says, your Father withholds nothing from you. Nothing, nada, nada, nada. just look with me to see whether there's a trap in the mind around food preferences. Or is the Son of God trying to hold him hostage on whether he has a bagel? Think of the number of times in the play of consciousness, like you were just, you were out picturing grandma's pie and you came home and it was gone, or so. Or, you give it's really good. Give somebody a recipe over here at the center and it comes out totally different, in one twitch, you can look at that. That's not how my grandmother made it. It's just a rich source to see where we're dancing with the devil, actually. Food. So yeah, Jesus is, he says 2 words on it. Follow me. Follow me. That's, he understands in the consciousness. I mean, that's why the great symbol of the Last Supper, to break bread together, because he knows how consciousness uses these symbols. And just like every other thing in consciousness, it was used for the unwinding of the idea that our bread comes from anywhere other than. And obviously the dogs agree. And then I have to ask Jesus, do we do anything about the dogs? He says, no. All right. Hopefully they're not tearing my room apart. Which, this is where trust comes in, Okay. All right. So that's basically the meat story. So keep the questions coming. Keep the questions coming. Okay. So we read this beautiful part, section 1, 4:2. And it says, we go together, you and I, with the dogs, apparently. Okay. Can you just go have a visit? She's going to go visit in there. See if they're tearing out the screen to get out. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. We go together, you and I. This is the song of prayer. Wow. We go together, you and I, is the song of prayer. And we see that through the joining by him teaching us how to pray through the joinings, to see where we're denying the constant prayer, the constant song of God. See, because it brings us right to where the beliefs we have about God. You just, you start to get close to your brother and you feel that just one thought of a brother that you just want to, you'd rather never see again. That one thought is how we feel about God. Because there's only one. So if a thought arises of never seeing someone again and not wanting to, it's not wanting to see God again. See, there's no one out there not to want to see. There's just God celebrating holiness. And then there's an idea that comes up that we buy the ticket to, that it's projection out on a brother. So when he's bringing these holy constellations together to look, he really means it. He means for us to jump a join with each other. And to say no to the ego, because the ego wants to, use the backside of a magnet. You put 2 magnets together on the wrong side, they just like. And that feeling, any feeling felt about a brother, any feeling other than perfect equanimity and peace, that is exactly how we feel about God. So you can ask him, Jesus, because he says it in the course, but it's not when that bird lands in the heart, that the slightest belief that we hold about a brother is our own death sentence. Until that's really seen through. So he's given the means to see where the magnet repelling is happening by bringing us together. So we have to stand in and face where we're pretending our brother is pushing us out of heaven, to see that we're pushing ourselves out of the heaven using an idea of what we think our brother is. So this is the way he's teaching us the song of prayer. We go together, you and I, and we cannot do it alone. So I ask him, Jesus, can we do it alone? So we can hear him. No, we can't do it alone. So we're going to look really carefully at this section again. We looked at it a little bit before. It's really so much love comes from this. Just even looking at it, because it's so holy what we're looking at now. We're looking at this celebration of the one. He is inviting us into holy communion together. Holy communion. Now it is possible to help in prayer, so reach up yourself, and so reach up ourselves. See, it's acceptance of divinity to join with your brother. You ask him. But not in the horizontal joining, not in the old way. You know, I saw my friends were based on, all the friends are based on, did they like birds? Did they like the same thing I liked? We're traveling in a different, our mighties are given by him in holy relationship, to see where we're denying divine light together, and then to celebrate the communion of saints as these desires to act like a magnet, like your brother is a push away, repelling, and to look directly at those ideas that your brother is anything as holy, because your brother being the reflection of God in the mind, and the idea and the concept we hold of God in the mind. He's the fastest way. He's your savior come. He's our savior. He helps us see how we're preventing holy communion for ourselves. Now it is possible to help in prayer, and so reach up yourself. This step brings the quicker ascent, but there is still many lessons to learn. I just asked him, so chapter 20 is a speed up. Yes. Yes. The way is open and hope is justified, yet it is likely at first that what is asked for even by those who join in prayer is not the goal that prayer should truly seek. Even together you may ask for things and thus set up but an illusion of a goal you share. That's why, again, the joining in light, if you just join in light worksheet, always starts with the shared goal. See how he's teaching us the shared goal. The only goal worth having is to come together to see what's true. We talked about that yesterday. That is holy prayer until that even falls away. And you see that you are truth. There isn't anything other than truth. But for a time to come together in truth is to focus the mind on God. Going to your brother is teaching us to go empty-handed to your God. Because unless we go empty-handed to our brother without an idea who he is, we can't go empty-handed to God. I want to make sure I'm clear on it. Yes. So he's teaching us through the joining how to go empty-handed to God. Now that's profound. Thank you, Jesus. Wow, that's profound. Because he's showing us how we go to our brother with our hands full. Full of those concepts of what your brother's doing wrong, but they're just a reflection of what we believe about ourselves. So again, that's why the ego is going to try to sidewind it. And it's going to say things like, no, I don't want to, I already know how to do this. That's a favorite thing. I want to change the instructions. That's why we're really being very attentive. If he gives the instructions, how to join in light, then read the instructions and follow them. It bears a lot of fruit. As well as chapter 21, just follow the instructions tightly. That's why we're pairing you up with Mary or Lena or Dyra, so we can really be clear. And if you have any questions, you have them answered. And also so you can have the confidence you can hear Jesus too, really. We're just standing in support of everyone hearing Jesus. That's our function. Because to think anything less than you can hear him now, and it's our direct experience, but to have one thought that you can't hear him clearly now, it's damnation, actually. Ask him. Jesus is a damnation to have one thought that my brother cannot hear you. Because we can on every circumstances, and everyone knows one of my favorite movies is Hacksaw Ridge. For exactly that reason, it was such a good lesson by Jesus. Just to hear his voice every circumstance, we have the power to do it without exception. It's like at the top of my list just for that. Just for the dedication to hearing the voice for God and following it with such dedication and not compromising. Desmond Doss. What a beautiful symbol in the mind of dedication to following the light within. So let's see. So even the joining then is not enough. It feels really good to be clear on this. Okay, Jesus, so let's find out. It's not enough of those who pray together do not ask before all else, what is the will of God? We talked about this yesterday. It's so valuable. That's what the joining is about. That's what that worksheet is about. Asking the will of God. When we get together, chapter, what is thy will? For the Son of God to know who he is, period. To admit who he is and cease to deny it. From this cause only can the answer come in which all specifics satisfied, all separate wishes unified in one. Prayer for specifics always asks to have the past repeated in some way. See, it's here's the ego, Donna. It's going to go out until it's operating within the dream. Oh God, we're asking for specifics. Oh God, you can never be free in that. There isn't a way. And we're so used to it. We're so conditioned to have a little prayer to God to give me, make sure everybody's healthy and all this sort of stuff. For the deep teacher of God, we have to see the trap in that. Yeah, Jesus is saying there is simply no other way. And see, whenever you ask for specifics, you're always generating miscreation. Yeah, he's saying, yeah, it's a miscreation. Because it's going into, okay, here's what I had before. Talking to him with respect to meat. See, that's what the ego will do. Go, God, I just really want a steak. God doesn't deprive us of steak. All I'm saying is it does, the play of consciousness does an out picturing. So it goes in and it goes, okay, the last time I had steak was good. Therefore, I'm going to be saved if I have a steak again. And it's going to be like the last one. That's how it maintains that searching function. It's going to be good. It's going to put happiness in the future. So you want to be eating steak and just happy as a lark and not have any dependency if you ate a steak or not today, because you're the Son of God glowing like a glow bug just because you are. just because you're this one with the Father. That sounds good. But we're so sure heaven's in that darn steak. You just see the itch in it, you know, the itch for something other than God. It's not, he's just saying enjoy. He's saying you can eat a steak and enjoy it. Now and again, he might say, have a steak and yummy, yummy, I'm going to enjoy it. But see, when it's guided, you're outside of miscreation. You're aligned with God. So God's not going, oh, you're going to hell because you're having a steak. It doesn't work that way. No, consciousness makes a steak and then makes up a story about a steak so we can feel guilty about a steak. That's what consciousness does. And then be deprived because someone else gets a steak that we don't get. At the next table, their steak looks better than our steak. You see, it's just how consciousness plays. It's the currency of consciousness. Comparisons. When did I have it before? When am I going to have it again? You know, there's a shortage of steak because of the coronavirus. It's just. So prayer for specifics always asks to have the past repeated in some way. What is enjoyed before seemed to be what was another's, and he seemed to love. All these are but illusions from the past. And Tony Robbins used to say that. He used to say, you're eating your memories. You can ask Jesus, is that true? You're eating memories. All past associations with food. So you're not even eating a steak, you're eating a memory. You're eating conditioning. That's deep. Yep. He goes, yep. This turned out to be interesting on prayer. The aim of prayer is to release the presence from its chains of past illusions, to let it be freely chosen remedy from every choice that stood for a mistake. What prayer can offer now so far exceeds all that you asked before that it is pitiful to be content with less. Oh my gosh, he has to show us. It's just humbling. He has to show us how we're living in the pittance. You can ask him, we can all hear him, Jesus, do you need to show me where I've been living in the pittance? And here he's going to tell you, yes. Living in the scrap of the tiniest little scrawny little scrap of a universe. Jesus, am I so far beyond the universe? And just hear that, yes. Marinate on that, by the way. It's a good one. Vaster than sky. And then marinate on, Jesus, do I not want to see that I'm vaster than sky? Is that the whole gig, that I don't want to see that I'm light? It's like, I don't want to pray all the time. You have chosen a newborn chance each time you pray. See, it's always new. Every time we pray, we're turning our face toward what we are instead of away. We really have to learn what true prayer is. Boy, I can see that, boy. And he's got to teach it. He's the only teacher worth having on what prayer is. Yes. Because he can show us where the false ideas we have about what prayer is. He can show us where we're praying for hell and thinking it's heaven. And quickly, with precision. Again, I love that when he brought me to that. Well, at first I didn't love it because I didn't know, what are you talking about? When he's bringing me right into the text, he's showing me where he was talking to Helen and Bill about statistics. He's pointing right in there, precision and accuracy. I'm going, why is he talking about precision and accuracy until it dawns? Because he is the precise one, precision, to get in there into that catacomb for us and show us exactly, precisely, with accuracy, where the denial is. Where we're denying the miracle. You know, because we're so used to being in the kerfuffle, and I'm going to forgive it up here. And he's going to go, let me show you where the real chunk of personal identity that's generating that, the real desire to generate an experience of hell. And would you stifle and imprison it in ancient prisons, this newborn chance he's talking about, when the chances come to free yourself from all of them at once? Let's go for it. Do not restrict your asking. Oh, we talked about that yesterday. Thank you for reminding me. And see what you're asking for. He's saying, see what you're asking for when you're asking for these things of the world. You are asking, you're begging for hell, actually. That's deep. You can ask him, Jesus, when I'm asking for things in the world, am I begging for hell? You see, that's praying for hell. Oh my gosh. Ask him, Jesus, do I relish praying for hell? And just hear his answer. I'm going to need a miracle. And I ever released a miracle for any kind of praying for hell under there? Oh, we need his help. Do not restrict your asking. Asking to pray as we are, whole and complete. Ask for nothing and receive everything prayer. We don't ask for that enough. I'm asking him. He says, yes, we don't ask for that enough. Okay, Jesus, will you remind me? Yes, he said, yes, with so much love, he will remind us. That's what he's here for, to tell us that we're praying for hell, thinking it's heaven. That's pretty deep. Okay, so we're really going to get this prayer thing. Okay, do not restrict your asking. Asking for the song of God. So I was just asking him about joining is asking. To restrict joining is to restrict your asking. It's like, oh, Jesus. Yeah. To restrict joining is to restrict your asking and your prayer. Wow. Prayer can bring the peace of God. What time-bound thing can give you more than this in just a little space that lasts until it crumbles into dust? The latter ends. Prayer is a way to true humility. And I'm talking to him now about joining is the way to true humility. Authentic joining, as in going empty-handed to your brother, is a symbol of going empty-handed to your God. Wow. And here again, it rises slowly up and grows in strength and love and holiness. Oh my God. He's saying that is your only function, to come together with your brother in the prayer of truth. To celebrate truth. That's your only function. Let it believe the ground where it begins to rise to God, and true humility will come at last to grace the mind that thought it was alone and stood against the world. See, not joining is arrogance. Yes, that's when we refuse to join with our brother to see what's true, we are arrogant. Saying, yep. That's a play of arrogance and the ego's. See, ego likes to go off and keep its little fiefdom over there and do it by itself. Right about the time it's time to join, the ego starts going, I can hear Jesus directly. I don't need to join. That's what it's going to say. I don't need chapter 21 because I can hear Jesus. No, because if you hear Jesus, you'll be doing chapter 21. 20. I added an extra chapter.
It's coming.
It's coming. I don't know. I don't think so, but chapter. It's hilarious because that now this little thing, it always makes it. It never says chapter 20. It always says chapter 22, chapter 21. Chapter 20. I'm asking him if chapter 21's coming. He says no. He says, see, Be full on with chapter 20 first. Be full on with it. We're going to develop a 90-day program here for those that really want to go deep on chapter 20. And, where you can come for 3 months and just totally focus on that. Well, and say that it's Seva, and because that's what we do. We just look all day. It takes that kind of focus. You start to see that for those that really have the call in your heart. So if you have the call, you can contact us, and we're looking at how we would accommodate the beings here that want to have that deep look and just stand into the fire, and just 90 days with Jesus. I mean, you might decide to stay longer. It's not like, okay, we're going to, we just follow Jesus. We pray. Everyone who comes here is invited by him. But if you're feeling that, and then we'll try to have a 90-day program as well that may be coming for those at home too. But if you're called, just step into it, really, if he's calling you. And trust that he's going to find a way for you. That's love. And you can join with your joining partner, because what you'll find, part of this, where this is leading to, it's a continual joining. So you join in chapter 20, and you join also with other brothers as guided by Jesus when you have an upset. Stay with the joining when you have an upset. Jump a join, jump a join, jump a join. The ego cannot maintain its lack of content with this joining. That if you want the speed up, if you really look, I want it, the rocket ship, here it is, then you jump a join with a brother and trust that you'll be guided by Jesus. But the things that come from those joinings, so incredibly beautiful. And here again, it rises slowly up and grows in strength and love and holiness. Let it but leave the ground where it begins to rise to God, and true humility will come at last to grace the mind that thought it was alone and stood against the world. Humility brings peace because it does not claim that you must rule the universe nor judge all things as you would have them be. Okay, so let's just do a check-in on true humility, humility of God, and it's okay, this is the team of non-guilt. This is the team at looking. So we are not making any of the ego stuff real. It is not our function. It's none of our business. Making the ego real is not our business. Realizing that we desire something that is not of heaven is our business, but we're not to judge that we want something that's not of heaven. Do you see? That's the ego's little extra plan for hell. No, it's just going, okay, Jesus, admitting we want it, God, I want it, and you'll see the experience here is like everything he says is true. Do I want that, Jesus? I want that more than God. And then we just look directly so it can be released. That's humility. Honesty of God is humility. I want it. I see that there's light. I want this more than light. I'm willing to have a miracle. That is true humility. That's humility. Jesus, do I have a desire below the level of my awareness to rule the universe? To have a desire for that? I'm willing to see it. To play the game of ruling the universe. Do I have a desire to judge all things as I would have them be? Okay, I'm willing to see that directly and ask for a miracle. Any twitches in there? If he says yes, then I just look and I said, Jesus, is it possible just to yawn that ego out? He says, yes. And you'll find that. That's experience here. We're starting to call these the yawning circles, because that tension, as you just look and it's just released out of the subconscious mind, you just yawn it out. You don't have to have histrionics. You don't have to throw yourself down on the ground and wail. Any of the things that the ego, it's not bad. We're not going to judge it if you throw yourself down on the ground. He's just offering a way that's so direct Because you may feel like it's sometimes throwing yourself down on the way. But I'm asking, will this help? He says, no, look with me. See, just know that Jesus is not asking you nor God to throw yourself down on the ground and wail. You know, it could arise. We're not going to judge it if it does. You might lie down on the ground. That happened one time. I could hardly stand up after I was at David's at a retreat, and I had to go lie down on the grass right there. I had a lot of doubt thoughts come in on that, but I asked Jesus. He said that was holy purpose. Like, that's no people pleasing. I felt like I wanted to lie down. I went and lie down on the grass. But we do it with his help. You know, he tells us this is what's most helpful. Do you know? And you'll learn really quickly that you don't have to scream and gnash teeth. We'll find out who's the one that's screaming and gnashing teeth. And then look at the desire. Jesus, I have a desire to scream and gnash teeth. And just look at it. That is the fastest way. Look directly, let him reveal, okay, Jesus, give it to me. Give me the desire. I just want to see it fully. If we keep the desire down there, it's Groundhog Day again. You'll find yourself saying the same freaking sentences again. The same play of mind is just going to keep playing over and over, those repeat sentences and over, until the energy down there, where we think there's a benefit to that play in consciousness, is released. Desire to keep it. Humility brings peace because it does not claim that you must rule the universe nor judge all things as you would have them be. All little gods it gladly lays aside, not in resentment, but in honesty and recognition that they do not serve. I said, Jesus, can this cannot be emphasized enough. Of course, in everything, every sentence, but when it starts living in us. So this is a reminder for me. All little gods it gladly lays aside, because this is how the ego is going to play. It's going to go, I see it. And it's going to, it's little, I see it. I see what's happening here. I see that I want the play. It has not been seen through yet. Okay, that's the resentment. So the ego makes the crap up, makes stuff up. Then it's the one who's going to notice it. Well, I see that this is happening, and I see I have this pattern. See how it's going to play like that? And then it's going to be really mad about having the pattern. It's still in the play. But with honesty of God, the honesty that it doesn't serve us, that's the release. When we're in the resentment is the play to keep it. It's trying to keep that in play. It's not fully admitting it. It's the ego play right there. Honesty is kind of, holy Jesus, you're right. That is honesty. There's an energy to it. It's just, it's light, it's happiness. It's funny. You might even laugh because you'll see, oh my God, he's right again. And he's fine with that. You'll be fine with it because you'll be laughing as opposed to gnashing teeth. We're not gnashing teeth as much, sure that we're screwed through the desire to feel screwed. But that is key, the recognition that this pattern of thought does not serve. And he gave this, and we were together and gave this to Lori and I, the sentence, am I willing to see that blank, and you put the thought in, will not get me heaven, whatever thought it is, whatever thought of hell arises, am I willing to see that this cannot get me heaven? Because that's the recognition that it does not serve. Until it's seen, then we still believe that heaven's in it. See, we think it serves. That's why we have hell, because we think hell serves us. You can ask Jesus, so does hell keep cropping up because I think it's something positive out of it? And hear the yes. from Jesus. So again, there's numerous parts of the plan, but the simple thing is, one, go naked, empty-handed to your God and your brother as his representative of how you feel about God, which is how you feel about yourself. Go empty-handed, and go empty-handed to God in prayer. That's the only way receiving can be recognized, is empty-handed. As soon as we're in the thoughts, we're in the dead zone of denial, of saying God's not here. Illusions and humility have goals so far apart they cannot coexist nor share a dwelling place where they can meet. Where one has come, the other disappears. Humility is a solvent for illusions. Yes, Jesus says. It's just admitting the error. That's true. It's an error. It's a boo-boo. It's not admitting that we did something wrong. No. It's just going, oopsie daisy. Can I have a miracle, Jesus? That was a boo-boo, Jesus. I just goofed. The truly humble have no goal but God because they need no idols, and defense no longer serves a purpose. Enemies are useless now because humility does not oppose. It does not hide in shame because it is content with what it is, knowing the creation is the will of God. We're creation. The light is creation. We're that. That is the will of God, true creation, light. You are the will of God. Ask him so he can tell you. Am I the will of God, Jesus? Am I supreme happiness itself? See if he tells you no ever on that. Do I like playing like I'm not supreme happiness? And if he tells you yes, then go until he tells you no. You know, you just go with him. He's the one who knows. Its selflessness is self, and this it seems in every meeting. It sees in every meeting where it gladly joins with every son of God whose purity it recognizes that it shares with him. That's all our function is, recognize purity, ask him. Wow. All our function is recognize purity. Now prayer is lifted from the world of things, of bodies and of gods of every kind, and you can rest in holiness at last and just be the prayer. Is that right? Yes. I check in with Jesus. Humility has come to teach you how to understand your glory as God's son and recognize the arrogance of sin. A dream has veiled the face of Christ from you. Now can you look upon his sinlessness? High has the ladder risen. You have come almost to heaven. There is little more to learn before the journey is complete. Now you can say to everyone who comes to join in prayer with you, and so he is in truth. No, I cannot go without you, for you are a part of me. That's a great song. I cannot go without you, for you're part of me. And that's what the ego does not want to see, that the brother's part of him. I could see that, man. I could write a diatribe at one time, like of why I did not want the brother to be part of me. No, and triple no, quadruple no. The good news about that is at least it's right here. Because while it's hidden below the subconscious mind, we're walking warm bodies. If you've seen that movie, that opening scene of warm bodies, just kind of wandering aimlessly in the desert of the dream. The latter ends with this. Oh, for you have understood he never left, and you who seemed alone are one with him. The latter ends with this, for learning is no longer needed. With the understanding that we never could leave home, ever. Is that it, Jesus? That's the whole gig? Ask him. Yes. To be the happy learner, give it to me, Jesus, because you just get happier and happier. The ladder ends with this: for learning is no longer needed. Now you stand before the gate of heaven and your brother stands behind you, and you love every minute of that. You love it. You love your brother being with you. You're so happy, so grateful. The lawns are deep and still, for here the place appointed for the time when you should come is waiting long for you. Aw, here will time end forever. This is the joining brings you to timelessness, to recognize what's timelessness. Joining celebrates timelessness, the timeless nature of being. It is the solvent, it's this great solvent for a sense of personal identity. Prayer has become what it is meant to be, for you have recognized the Christ in you. The light, which is the only thing that can be shared. Light. Thank you for this reminder, Jesus, of the holiness of the song of prayer. And tonight so much love in this. We asked Barbara had shared a little song that she sang to us. She sent me the MP3, and we asked her if she would sing it for all of you tonight, because it's so touching in the heart. So thank you, Barbara, for bringing the beauty of your love to us in a song.
Well, Jesus must have took charge of my computer, because I was in a light session and all of a sudden this song that I had recorded is playing. And I was horrified, like, oh my God, I'm not in control. So yeah. So, and it's a song, it's in the works. But anyway, I'll sing it. We are rising, rising from the ashes, gone away, gone home, gone on ahead. We are rising, rising from the ashes, gone away, gone home, gone on ahead. We are rising, rising from the ashes, gone away, gone home, gone on ahead. We are rising, rising from the ashes, gone away, gone home, gone on ahead.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, love. Thank you all for coming. We send you big hugs from San Juan Cosala. Thank you for sharing that light, Barbara, with all of us.
Beautiful.